Everybody, please stand. Our governor is escorted by Dolly and Meanie. You may be seated. Wilson County Promotion welcomes each of you to the grand opening celebration of the Wilson County Fair, Tennessee State Fair. We are honored to have each of you to be a part of this history-making day in the great state of Tennessee. Wilson County Mayor Randall Hutto will now come and lead us in prayer.
Bow with me. Lord, as always, we thank you for your many blessings of life that you've given us. Lord, we thank you for the people that are represented in here today, from the farmers to the leaders of our country and our state. We continue to ask for wisdom and guidance during this time in our country. Lord, we celebrate this week in Wilson County along with the state of Tennessee as we bring families together from all across to share memories and create memories. We pray that we will always continue to be a good witness for you, no matter where we are, and especially during this week as we share time together. Be with us now as we go forward this week. Give us a safe week. Help us to do your will. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.
Major General Jeff Holmes, Adjutant General, Tennessee, will give the commands to post the colors and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. He will be assisted by 4-H and FFA members and by the color guard of the Tennessee National Guard. Please stand.
Thank you. So we'll assemble the FAA representatives, and 4-H can assemble down in front. We'll prepare to post the colors. First of all, I want to thank Wilson County Fair, Tennessee, and Tennessee State Fair for honoring all of our hometown heroes that have been so important to this state over the last 18 months. And that would include first responders, law enforcement, military or medical personnel, volunteers, and agencies at every level in this state. I don't take it for granted, as I've had the ability to talk to my peers in the other states, that we have something very unique in Tennessee, and that's our culture, that's our desire to help each other. It's been on display for the rest of the country to watch. It's been an honor to serve with all of the other responders and heroes from all these various communities across the state. So if you would, join with me as we pay honor to this nation of which we've been so blessed to live. Colors, hope! I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Color. Recover.
You may be seated. We are honored tonight to have a seventh-generation Tennessean, a cattle farmer, a businessman, a great friend of agriculture, and the 50th governor of the great state of Tennessee, Governor Bill Lee, and his wife Maria, our First Lady. Let's welcome him as he comes to be our featured speaker.
Thank you all. Thank you very much. What a great night this is. The opening of the Tennessee State Fair. It is great to be in Wilson County as we celebrate the fair's opening night. I want to thank Randall Clemens for his work. Actually, many who have come together. Jeff Aiken with the Farm Bureau, Charlie Hatcher, Mayor Hutto, community leaders from throughout Tennessee, frankly, who have made this possible. This is a very exciting and a very historic event for us. It's fitting that we celebrate the opening of the State Fair here, this new location for the State Fair, a new beginning for the Tennessee State Fair, which will certainly become the greatest state fair in the country. And it's fitting that we do so in the midst of the celebration of Tennessee, the greatest state in the nation. It's 225th year. So we became the 16th state in the country 225 years ago. We're celebrating that all across Tennessee with events in every county. Maria and I are going all across the state throughout this year to celebrate the greatness of our state. We're calling the theme of the 225 celebration, Untold Tennessee. We're asking people to submit the stories of the regular, everyday Tennesseans who have made this state great and who have created the fabric of who we are as the greatest state in the country. And it's fitting, too, that this year's fair theme is honoring hometown heroes. Fits right in with Untold Tennesseans. And tonight, I want to give a special thanks to some of those hometown heroes, the volunteers in the Governor's Early Literacy Program and the Imagination Library. So let's thank those who have been a part of that tonight. We've talked about the history of this state, and certainly tonight will be an event, and this week's event will be one that goes into the history books of our 225 years. So I'm especially proud to be here tonight with Maria and members of our family to celebrate this state fair. And the state fair has a lot of memories for me growing up here in Tennessee. All my life, as a kid and into an adult, I have enjoyed and been a part of the state fair. So as many of you know, my family's in the cattle business and we showed livestock. I started showing calves when I was in 4th grade. Showed calves all the way through my years, and all my kids showed calves all the way through. So the livestock piece of the state fair is something that I have tremendous memories of. The 4-H State Expo, where we showed livestock, was always held also on the grounds of the state fair. And I've spent many a night in the cattle barns preparing calves for shows in the state fair, and it continues on today. There are livestock shows even this weekend. My love for and my appreciation for, and therefore the thrill it is for me to be standing here celebrating this historic opening of this state fair is something that means an awful lot to me. And part of the reason that it's important as well is because we are an agriculture state. We have commerce and agriculture as part of our state seal. Ag is the driving component of our state's economy. It's the #1 sector in the economy of Tennessee. And we need to be making certain that we're doing everything we can to continue to invest in agriculture, to continue to invest in these young people that we've seen in 4-H and FFA. We've done that through our state budget, not only in with this opening of this fair, but funding for 4-H and FFA, designated funding, for ag enhancement funding, for agriculture funding throughout the state, but most importantly, by partnering with you, especially those of you who are involved in the agriculture industry. This state fair is going to be a great reminder to the people in the country as they visit the greatest state fair in the country over these years, the importance of agriculture to America and to the ability that we have to feed the world. So I appreciate those of you who are engaged in the ag industry and grateful for what you do for the economy and for all of Tennessee and frankly for all of Americans. You know, the state fair and the state fair in Tennessee is America at its best. We are incredibly proud of our state, and we showcase it in the state fair, whether it's the food or the fiddlers or the heritage of our state or Hereford cattle, which I have a particular affinity for. It'll all be on display in Tennessee at our Tennessee State Fair, and it's because of what you all have done to make this happen. You know, in a time when there is a lot talked about the divisiveness in our country, events like a state fair like we're having here remind us of the greatness of who we are. It reminds us of the things that bring us together and unite us, and reminds us of our heritage and inspires us for our future, for the greatest nation in the globe. And this America at its finest is on showcase right here. I'm as proud as I can be able to welcome you, to be a part of the opening ceremony of this. And I certainly hope that every single one of you and the thousands and thousands of people that will come to this great state fair will see the greatness of our state on display here. Enjoy your time at the new Tennessee State Fair. Thank you.
We thank you, Governor Lee, for your remarks, but more importantly, we thank you for your support that you have given us from the very inception of what we are here to celebrate tonight. We are coming here to join together the Wilson County Fair that was began in 1853 and the Tennessee State Fair that was began in 1855. Pretty unique that both of these were started only 2 years apart. On behalf of Wilson County Promotions tonight, we would like to share with you our vision for these two fairs as they come together. Our primary vision, and we know that your primary vision for it is that it will promote agriculture in our great state. We want to involve all 95 counties of Tennessee, and we want to showcase those 95 counties in a great way, from agriculture to tourism to whatever assets that your county has. We have found that the greatest way that we can bring our entire state together in all 95 counties and to engage that, number one, is through the Farm Bureau. Every county in our state has a Farm Bureau office. Secondly, every county in our state has an extension office. So we hope to be able to work through these two and our 59 county fairs that we have throughout this state to be able to bring the best of each county fair, to the Tennessee State Fair where it can compete in our years to come. We are trying to plant the seeds now to do that. The response that we have received has been wonderful. We've had a short window to bring about what we're here tonight to celebrate, and we are on a journey for the next 12 months to really take it to another level in 2022. We are the volunteer state. The Wilson County Fair is where it is today because of the 1,600 volunteers that we have, the 300 board members that we have, and the great executive committee and our great team that we have that operates our fair, led by Helen Mcpeak. We need to engage volunteers throughout this state, and our goal is to involve 5 volunteers from every county in the state as we make this fair the very best state fair in the nation, and we try to carry out the vision that Governor Lee has shared with us tonight. We will be breaking ground tonight at 8 o'clock of our new Made in Tennessee building that will house for the 2022 fair the best in 40 categories that has been determined to bring in non-perishable items to next year's fair. We also, in that building, will have an opportunity to showcase your county and for you to bring the best in assets that you have of your county and your tourism to showcase that next year. We believe that the state fair is the greatest educational tool that our county, that our state can have to tell the story of education, of agriculture, and to teach our children as we go forward. Next Wednesday night at 7 o'clock, we will break ground on our Agricultural Learning Center that we will try to have the first phase of it done by next year's fair. We want to deeply thank our county government for working with us, for Governor Lee, for Commissioner Hatcher, for our legislators for creating the $5 million that is making that possible tonight that we have just discussed. We want to say tonight some thank yous, first of all, to the selection committee that chose the Wilson County Fair to become the Tennessee State Fair. We also want to thank the Tennessee State Fair Association and Congressman John Rose for all that they have done to make this transition happen, and especially we want to thank Scott Jones for all he has done to help this transition in the process. We want to thank the Tennessee Association of Fairs for all they've done in the fairs throughout our state that have helped us in developing the categories, that have helped us to bring farm and field crops from across our state to this year's fair. We want to thank our new advisory board that are here on the front tonight, that are from all walks of life across our state, that will be meeting to help to advise us to be sure that we meet the needs of this entire state in every county that we have. I want to ask Helen Mcpeak, our executive director tonight, to come forward, and we have some special recognition that we would like to do at this time. First of all, Governor Miss Lee, if you would step up, please. We cannot say enough thank you to Governor Lee for the vision that he has for the Tennessee State Fair, for the commitment that he has to agriculture. And we want to be sure that he comes every year to our fair. And so we are giving them both a gold ticket badge that is good from now to the end of time. I would further say, just a minute, we have something else for you. We are very thankful that we have a governor that has agricultural roots and that is committed to agriculture and to our Tennessee State Fair and to our fairs throughout Tennessee. Each year we do a print about our fair theme, and this year we have one that we are extremely proud of as we've tried to create it to go with the combination of these two fairs and our theme, Hometown Heroes. And we are honored tonight to give you that. Has a great picture on it too. of our Wilson County hero that we will be remembering on Monday night, the late Charlie Daniels. Commissioner Hatcher. Come up, Commissioner. We are very thankful to have the Commissioner of Agriculture that we have as well. He has been very involved in all that has happened, and he has worked hard to make this happen, and he is committed, and he's encouraged us, and he's pushed us to keep going. And we've had a lot of hard conversations, but I told him today, I appreciate him, I think the world of him, and we know that we're in good hands with him as our Commissioner of Agriculture. Thank you, Commissioner Hatcher. Jeff Akins, if you would come up, please. Jeff was part of the selection committee. He was part of the previous fair board, president of the Tennessee Farm Bureau. Jeff has been a great inspiration to me. I would probably have thrown in the towel on the part that I had in this and not let our executive committee that is seated here on the stage tonight any further if it hadn't been for Jeff and his commitment to this. He's a great leader of the Farm Bureau that I know all of you people know, but he's a great leader in the state of Tennessee. He has a heart for agriculture. He has a heart for county fairs and the state fair. And Jeff, we thank you so much, and we want to present you a friend tonight as well. Commissioner of Tourism, Mark Ezell. Tourism is big in our state. It's big in our fair. We draw a lot of people to Tennessee, and we think the Tennessee State Fair would take that even further. And so as we are looking at tourism and ag tourism, he has been very inspiring to us and help us to develop what we need to do and what we'll be doing next year. He's a great friend to all of Tennessee. He's a great friend from the small place to the large place. And we thank you tonight, Mark, for all you have done and your staff. We have tried to spread the word of the Tennessee State Fair, and the Department of Tourism has been a great part of that. At this time, we have remarks from Congressman John Rose.
Thank you, Mr. Clemens. It is a privilege that it's hard to express, and you'll pardon me if I get a little emotional tonight because this has been an interesting decade. And as I look out in this crowd, I see many faces of people who have joined us along the arduous, oftentimes arduous journey of the last 11 years. It is my privilege to represent the people of the 6th District of Tennessee as their U.S. representative, serving 713,928 people spread across all or part of 19 counties, including the great county of Wilson, where we stand tonight. For the past 11 years, it has been my honor to work with some of the finest human beings a person could ever know in the hopefully very worthy goal of saving and perpetuating our state fair. So you can imagine the pride that I feel tonight as the Tennessee State Fair Association and all of those people who have helped make this organization successful hand the baton over to the next runner in this marathon, hopefully to see it continue for decades and centuries to come. You see, it was back in the spring of 2010 when then leader of the Farm Bureau, Julius Johnson, called me and asked me to come to a meeting in Nashville to discuss the future of our state fair. Many of you may not remember, but in late 2009, the then mayor of Nashville, Mayor Carl Dean, had spontaneously and suddenly announced that there would be no future Tennessee State Fairs, that he planned to close the fairgrounds at the end of year 2010. There wouldn't be a fair that year, and then he planned to tear down the fairgrounds. And so it was through the efforts of so many, and I plan to mention some of you tonight, so I'll ask you to bear with me, that this ragtag group, I shouldn't say ragtag, but in the beginning it felt a little bit that way, came together with the mission of trying to figure out, is there a way that we can save our state fair in Tennessee? I went to that meeting, and you must know that while I had been a longtime participant in the state fair and had tried to make the state fair a regular part of my annual activities and the annual support that I provided to groups, I did not consider myself to be what I would describe as a fair person. So I was a little dubious about going to that meeting, and I made that very clear to Julius Johnson, who would later become Commissioner of Agriculture in Tennessee. And I warned him, I'm really busy, Mr. Johnson, but I'll come to the meeting, but I can tell you right now, I don't think there's time in my schedule to get very involved in this. You can imagine my surprise when the end of that meeting neared, and then Chief Administrative Officer of Farm Bureau, later Commissioner Johnson, said, I think John Rose would be an excellent leader of our group. And some of you have heard the old expression about seeing the train coming down the tracks and knowing you can't get out of its way. Well, that train ran over me that day. And then at the end of that meeting, after everyone was leaving, I approached Commissioner Johnson and I said, Commissioner Johnson, I think I told you that I didn't need to get real involved in this. And he said, John, I assure you this will only be a year or two, and then we'll get this all worked out. So you can imagine, again, the sense of relief and accomplishment that I feel tonight as I stand before you and we pass the baton for the next chapter in the history of the Tennessee State Fair. I hope you'll bear with me tonight, and I'm going to ask all of these people to stand up and remain standing. So some of you are going to get the pleasure of standing for quite some time, but I want to call out a number of names. And I know many of these people are not here, and I know as I begin this path, Lieutenant Governor McNally, that I'm going to leave some people out. Good to see you here with us tonight. But I know I'm going to leave some people out, but I hope that the people that I do recognize you'll see as symbolic and emblematic of the efforts that have gone into keeping our state fair alive. Now, I would be remiss if I didn't start with mentioning the most important person to me in this journey, and that's my wife, Chelsea Rose. And certainly she's done me the great honor of helping me in this path. And I'll recognize my two boys, Guy and Sam, who are with her and who she's blessed me with, and the Lord has blessed us with. I could not have done this without her steadfast support. And many of the great ideas, if I've had any great ideas, Representative Weaver, I actually got from Chelsea and then took shameless credit for. So, but I want to begin by saying that the very first thanks have to go to our current governor, Bill Lee, who has stepped up to the plate and helped make this possible. And Governor Lee, I appreciate your remarks, and thank you so much for the leadership you've shown in helping us keep our state fair alive. And certainly I want to also thank Lieutenant Governor McNally, Speaker Sexton, and the General Assembly, and we're pleased to have so many members of the Assembly with us tonight, including those from here in Wilson County. I see Representative Lynn and Senator Pody, and I know we have Senator Hale on the stage with us, and I know there are, and Representative Clark Boyd. I was about to give you a promotion there, and I know I'm leaving folks out, but certainly thankful for what the General Assembly has done in supporting the effort to keep our state fair alive. But I want to begin by recognizing three groups and one individual who are the crux of this. And I want to ask everybody associated with these groups to stand if there are any of you here tonight. And I'm going to start with an individual, Scott Jones, who joins us on stage. And Scott, I'm going to let you stand for quite a while. So Scott Jones, who I want to recognize, who really was the inspiration. Frankly, I think he inspired Commissioner Johnson to take up this cause. Scott had been the fair manager prior to the announcement of the mayor in Nashville, and he was really the unrelenting advocate and has stayed engaged in this enterprise right through to to the very end here in handing this over to Wilson County. Scott was our inspiration, and he never wavered over that 11-year period in his support for the fair. The Tennessee Department of Agriculture, with whom we could not have accomplished what we have accomplished, and certainly here in the latter phases of this, in the critical phase of this, Commissioner Charlie Hatcher. But I want everyone associated with the Tennessee Department of Agriculture to stand up and remain standing, and we're going to give all these people a real big round of applause at the end. And I'm going to mention some of these folks by name, but some of them I might mention, but they have been indispensable to this journey. The Tennessee Farm Bureau, and I know we have a large number of Farm Bureau people here tonight, but had it not been for Farm Bureau, our state fair would have died in 2009. That would have been the last fair. So I want all of the leaders of Farm Bureau, if you will stand, because certainly without the sustenance, support, and efforts of Farm Bureau staff and volunteers and leadership, this fair would have died. North American Midway Entertainment, and it's important for you all to know, and I'm going to mention a gentleman, Mike Sievers, certainly the owner of North American Midway. Danny Houston deserves mention as well, but Mike and North American stood up early and stayed resolute throughout the 11-year journey that we've been on, and they were indispensable to our success. So those four groups and the individuals, and I see some of you sitting down, so I don't think I said you could, so stand back up, folks. Now, there is a group I want to mention, the current membership of the Tennessee State Fair Commission, that has been a part of this effort for many years now, currently led by Commissioner Charlie Hatcher, but Farm Bureau President Jeff Aiken, Steve Gass, Dean Ashley Stokes, Emily Pitcock from the Tennessee Association of Fairs, and Dr. Chandra Reddy from the Tennessee State University Dean of Extension there. All of these folks, if you will join us in standing. And then I'm going to mention the current board members of the Tennessee State Fair Association, which I have had the privilege of chairing since that day in early 2010 when I got drafted for this position. But Joe Gaines, our current vice chair, Deborah Kennerson, our state statistician, who is the current secretary, Dan Strasser, who is our treasurer, also with Farm Bureau, Dr. Sam Jackson, Justin Crow, Emily Pitcock, Representative Andy Holt, Will Cheek, Deb Varallo, Rob Sherrill, Jim Stewart, Julie Bowling, Boyd Barker. And then early on we had a group that we called, I'll go ahead and mention past members of our Fair Association board who have come and been a part of the effort but are no longer on the board. Dean Robert Burns at UT, Bill Carter, Allie Ellis, Dr. Scott Senseman, Dr. Tim Cross, Tim Garrett, Christy Fortner, Senator Joe Haynes, Commissioner Julius Johnson, Tom Lane, Dr. Doyle Meadows, Councilwoman Sandra Moore, Bill Mullins, Lacey Upchurch, Dan Wheeler, and Commissioner Susan Whitaker. Beyond that, I want to mention we used to call them our technical committee, and I know many of them are already standing, but I want to mention a number of them. Again, I know I'm going to leave somebody out, so please accept my apologies in advance. Lynn Moore, Jennifer Fulbright, Christy Chastain, Lynn Williams, Michael Berry, Vanessa Wharf, Sam Hatcher, Charles Curtis. And then I want to mention some of our volunteers and workers that helped to make the fair successful over this many years. And again, I'm going to leave some out, so pardon me for doing that. But Ben Powell, Kevin Kinney, Hal Moss, I already mentioned, Chuck Rice, Phyllis Ellis, Dee Dee Owens, David Lewis, Ronnie Davenport, Quentin Smith, Rusty Stone, Sandy Carroll, Ann Scott, Pam Butler, Alan Pasota, Marge Drake. We had a number of employees through those years that helped to make the fair happen, and I'm going to mention several of them in addition to Scott, but most recently Savannah Weaver, Kate Lansall, Kinsey Emery, Kelsey Rose, Anna Flott, Emily Fletcher, Michelle Allen Parker, Jane McGuire, and Carrie Ann Fuller. Now, as I indicated, I've no doubt left people out, and as I look across the crowd, I see many people who came to the fair and volunteered and helped year by year in making the fair successful. Without you, we could not have succeeded. And what I would say, and pardon me for the metaphor or analogy here, but I want to say to all of these folks, well done, good and faithful servants. Thank you. You honor me by being here tonight, and you honor me by keeping this great Tennessee tradition alive. Let's give this group a big round of applause, and thank you for your time tonight and indulgence with me. Thank you.
As we accept becoming the Tennessee State Fair tonight, I would like to ask our executive committee if they would stand and remain standing. We are blessed with a great team here that have been involved in the Wilson County Fair for many, many years. Also, if you are a volunteer at the Wilson County Fair or have been a volunteer, if you would stand as well. What has got us where we are is the great leadership that we have from this group and also from the volunteers that we have, and I would like you to give them a round of applause at this time for all that they do. I'm going to ask our executive team if they will continue to stand, because at this time, Commissioner Hatcher and Senator Farrell Hale, Speaker Pro Tem, has a presentation to make to our executive committee.
Thank you. I was honored to ask to carry the bill that made the transition out of Nashville to Wilson County. And these are my people. Farming is my people. Even though my profession was different, we still run the family farm, and I was so honored to be asked to carry this bill that made the transfer. And so this is the proclamation. It's House Bill number 1286. And it was carried, it's signed by the governor, by Lieutenant Governor, and Speaker Sexton. And so we want to present that to the Wilson County Committee.
Excuse me, we got to cut a ribbon first. If this group will step to the front of the stage, if our committee, our new advisory committee, will come around and get right here in front, and the Lebanon-Wilson County Chamber of Commerce is going to come and bring the ribbon, and we're going to officially open this, and then we will retrieve the colors. Everybody come up. The Wilson County Fair, Tennessee State Fair is officially open and begins our 2021 season.